Let's talk about the things that really shocked me or surprised me about Bangkok that maybe I saw on videos but didn't really realize the extent of the shock or the surprise until I actually came here. Ready? Let's go. All right, number one, we need to discuss the heat. It is stifling. We're in the hot season. We're just getting started into the rainy season. So like this morning, I posted a short. It poured really hard for about an hour, hour and a half, and now it's pretty much clear. It might rain a little bit this afternoon, but with the rainy season here, this time of year, you usually just get these quick downbursts that last an hour or so, and then it clears up and you're fine. But it's really hot. We're talking 94 degrees Fahrenheit, but the heat index is 107. So if you're not used to the heat, be aware that it can be very stifling here. Now, I'm sweating like crazy. I walked from Prong Pong to a soak, so I walked one stop. I did some B-roll video that I'll put in here. But just to show you a little bit of walking along Sukhumvit Road, but it is really hot. So the heat was one of the biggest shocks that I've had since I moved here. All right, so you always hear about the food, the Thai food being amazing. And, you know, I've eaten Thai food back in the US and I've eaten Thai food in the Philippines, but you don't really get a true understanding of how great Thai food is until you actually come here and eat the local Thai food. It is absolutely the best. So I would say without a doubt that Thai food is the best food I've ever had. It's so good, and you really don't get the appreciation of really good Thai food until you've actually come to Thailand and you actually eat the authentic traditional Thai meals. Once you do that, there's no going back. Now, man cannot live on Thai food alone. I like my food spicy, and I can handle that, but at some point, if you do that too much, it really raises havoc. So you got to take a little break. And that's another thing I like that really surprised me about living here is the incredible food options that you have here. Not just the Thai food, obviously, but pretty much any type of food you want, especially here in Bangkok, you can get all the Asian foods. You can get all the Western foods. They have great places with the Western style pizzas and the burgers and steaks. Anything you really want, Italian food, Mexican food, they have it all here, where some other Southeast Asian countries you might not be able to get good quality food like that, the Western style food. Like, for instance, in the Philippines, it's hard to get Mexican food, good Mexican food. Here you don't have a problem. In the Philippines, it's hard to get a really good pizza. Here, you don't have a problem. You've got plenty of options. So, and then steaks. Steaks in the Philippines is hard to come by. Really good steaks at a decent price. Now, you can get some okay steaks, but they're going to cost you. In the Philippines here, obviously you can get those high end, but you can get that middle range pricing on steaks without breaking your budget or your bank account. So that was another thing that kind of surprised me, because when you first come to Southeast Asia, you don't really know what to expect. I mean, you kind of see some of the videos, but I think the general impression of Southeast Asian countries are they're third world countries it's not nearly as good as it is in the West as far as everything's concerned. And that's not necessarily true. Now, there are some developing countries in Southeast Asia that you'll find your Western countries are head and shoulders above that. But Thailand's not one of them. And Bangkok's definitely not one. I mean, just look at the modern buildings. I mean, you got this beautiful man-made lake in the middle of the main business district of Bangkok. Beautiful area to walk. Wide sidewalks. I mean, it's got everything you need. So your food options are going to be there. That's one of the things that kind of surprised me when I moved here. Another one is the modernness of Bangkok. You know, living here now for a while, and when I first started visiting here almost 3 years ago, I didn't know what to expect, but it really is a modern city, and it's not a third world country like some would think. It is an upper middle class country. So you've got a GDP that's good, you've got decent wages for the most part, and you've got this modern infrastructure where, I mean, the buildings are modern, the condos are modern, the transportation is modern. I mean that's everything is just, it's really, other than Tokyo and Singapore, it's probably the most modern city that I've been in. So you've got a lot of great areas here. Another thing that surprised me or shocked me when I first came here and when I first moved here is all the neat neighborhoods in Bangkok. I mean, you get inundated on videos about the seedier parts of Bangkok, you know, and you're stuck on that Murray Head song, One Night in Bangkok, and the bars are temples, but the girls aren't free. You'll find a god in every golden cloister, and if you're lucky, then the god's a she. But it's not, that's just a small percentage of what Bangkok's all about and what Thailand's all about. I mean, you've got just great things to do here. These little neighborhoods like Prom Pong, I had my breakfast there at 39 Craft Coffee. Had a really good Thai breakfast, and it only cost me, the whole thing was 95 baht, so less than $3 for the entire meal. And but Prom Pong's a neat area. Tonglo is another neat area. Of course, the Sok. These are just along Sukhumvit Road. And when you get outside of that, you've got some other really neat areas in Bangkok that you can live or visit, and varying degrees of cost of living. So that's another neat thing about Bangkok, is all the really neat neighborhoods that you can go and live in or visit. Another thing that really shocked me, being such a large city, is how easy it was to get around. I mean, Bangkok, the traffic is crazy busy here, but you've got options. I mean, the train system is one of the more sophisticated systems in the world. And you've got the BTS, which is the Sky Rail, and you've got the MRT, which is the subway. But if you look at a map and all the lines that run through the city, there's really not an area in the entire city of Bangkok, which is over 11 million people, that these train systems doesn't provide transportation to. So you've got a great option there. Now you can get a taxi or a Grab. But you're kind of at the mercy of, hello, you're kind of at the mercy of the traffic there. You can get a tuk-tuk. I would definitely suggest at least one time riding a tuk-tuk, because that's one of the things that are uniquely, just unique to Thailand, and especially in Bangkok, is riding those tuk-tuks. Just be aware of the cost so you don't get scammed a little bit. Or you can, if you're brave, you can ride bikes, because you can get from point A to point B probably quicker than anything if you ride a bike, because you're zooming in and out of traffic, and they'll get you where they need to go, where you need to go, really quick. But at your own risk. And then, of course, the trains, and they have buses too. They have air-conditioned buses. They have non-air-conditioned. Hello. Non-air-conditioned busing that you can take, that runs up and down Sukhumvit and different areas. So, and it's pretty cheap. So the transportation is cheap and plentiful. You don't have a hard time finding a Grab if you're looking for one. It's usually there within 5 or 10 minutes at the most. Of course, the train system is one of the best in the world. So you've got all those options that make Bangkok unique, and that was one of the things that really surprised me about coming here to Bangkok and coming into Thailand, because of that. Let's talk about another thing that really surprised me, and that's the language. You know, you hear all the time, it's like, oh, don't go to Bangkok because you're not going to be able, nobody's going to be able to understand you. You're not going to be able to understand them because nobody speaks English. You know, go to the Philippines instead because English is one of the languages spoken. I don't have any more difficulty dealing with the language here in Bangkok than I do anywhere in the Philippines. It's really about the same. Living in the Philippines for 3 years, and in Metro Manila and BGC, gets you kind of lazy. You don't have to learn the language because enough people speak English. So I don't have to learn Tagalog. I learned a little bit. Don't have to learn any Bisaya or Ilonggo or any of those dialects, because English is one of the languages. But you will run into those problems or issues where the person you're trying to communicate with isn't very good at the English language. And that could be an issue. We're going to jump in the shade here because I'm just dripping sweat. And we're talking, this is the Philippines we're talking about. So, like for instance, if you want to take a taxi. Taxis, most drivers don't speak English well. Grab, it's not as bad because if they don't speak English, at least they've got your location on Google Maps so they can get you to where you need to go without having to talk. But if you're taking a taxi and you're trying to tell them where you need to go, sometimes that can be just a real mess trying to communicate with the taxi driver. Now, it's the same here. You run into the same issues here. But for the most part, of course, I don't take taxis here. So I usually take a Grab, or I'll take the train, or maybe I'll take a bike. But with me, at least, the situations where I'm trying to communicate with someone is in a place where the English language is spoken, at least to a point where they can understand me and I can understand them. So like a retail store or a restaurant or a bar, most of the help in those places speak enough English where you can understand them and they can understand you. I mean, really, how tough is it to say, "1 tiger pint, please." Cup can grab. No, but seriously, you know, in restaurants, if they don't speak it, they usually have pictures on the menu, or you can read it in English. They've got the Thai and the English version, so you can see what you're ordering for the most part. So it's really not that big a deal, at least in Bangkok. Now, if you get to these smaller cities, you'll run into some problems with the English language, just because it is a smaller city, and so they don't really, except for maybe Pattaya or those big touristy areas like Phuket, they'll speak English pretty well because those are big tourist areas. But if you're in, say, Hua Hin, where it's not quite as touristy, it's a smaller community, you may not have a lot of people that speak and understand English. It's not horrible, but it's a little more problematic than it is, say, here in Bangkok. But for the most part, in the main areas of Bangkok, you're not going to have an issue. It's really not going to be a problem. All right, final thing that was kind of shocking for me is the cost of living. The cost of living is cheaper than the Philippines, in my experience. Now, I'm not talking about going deep into the provinces or even going up north here into the Isan area. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about metro areas like Metro Manila, BGC, and Makati, compared to Bangkok. It's pretty comparable. I will say the things that are cheaper here is rentals. Condo and apartment rentals are cheaper here in Bangkok. You get more for your buck here. The quality build is better than it is in the Philippines. So you've got that. Restaurants are comparable. You can get street food anywhere here, and it's really good, and it's really cheap. You know, I paid 95 baht, which is under $3 for lunch today. And that's probably on the high side for street food. I can go to get decent street food for 50, 60, 65 baht. I can go up to Terminal 21 at their food court and get food for that same price, 60, 65 baht, under 100 for sure. So there's places here where you can eat really cheap. Now, in places like Makati and BGC, other than those barangay areas like Guadalupe and those areas, you can eat fairly cheap there. But I'm talking about the city part of Makati and BGC. It's harder to find food, restaurant food at a cheaper price. Now, I have not checked the grocery store prices here recently, so I will be doing a video on that. I'll be doing my grocery shopping probably at Lotus, at the big Lotus store at An Nut, Sukhumvit, and I'll do a little price comparison, and you guys can help me out as far as how the prices here compare to where you're from. But as far as restaurant food, now it may be, restaurant food may be a little higher or the same price as, say, in Makati or BGC. You can find deals that are cheaper and you can find deals that are more expensive. So you've got a lot of options. And let's talk beer, which is something that I could use right now, or at least a water to hydrate. But you can find these great happy hour prices here in Bangkok on a huge pint of beer, or 550 milliliters, 550 milliliters, which is, I don't know if that's a pint or not. Anyway, but they've got those specials for like 100 baht, 95 baht, 100 baht. That's under $3 for a big pint of beer. Now, there's some deals in BGC where you can get a bucket of beer for 450 or 500 peso, which is about $10. So you figure 5 beers, that's $2 each for a 12 ounce. So you do the math. Which one's saving you more money? I don't know. But another thing that shocked me here was the different options of bars, pubs, beer. In the Philippines, you don't have a lot of options. It's San Mig Pilsen, Pale Pilsen, San Mig Light, or Red Horse. And then once in a while, you can find a Corona or a Stella Artois, but not very often, and at a premium price.